Hello, my name is Lou and welcome back to the Facebook page and YouTube channel for Kingston Library Services. January 2021 is witnessing the launch of the first ever Teen Digibook Club. What is this book club, you may ask? Let me explain. With our physical branches closed in accordance with government guidelines, library staff have put their heads together and thought of launching this book group. We want our community of teenagers to feel connected. We've created a page in which you can share your thoughts about your chosen books at the moment, which novels are really gripping, maybe some authors and new writing styles you have discovered, and so forth. We invite you to join us twice a month to discuss your books. You can read one or many. All we ask is that you are to be inspired by a theme that we select. For example, in January, I chose the theme of adventure. With many of us working from home a lot more with our studies, we are not getting to be outside as much as possible, and it is so brilliant to escape into the world of adventure. But for many of us, that means various things. It could be that we are quite literally travelling back in time to another period and changing the course of the future and our destinies. We could be on a boat with pirates and discovering a new world. We could be travelling across vast distances, or even just outside our front door and are met with an opportunity of the chance to be brave and courageous and fulfill our destiny. It's very, very exciting. And for January's meeting, we are just meeting the one time. We ask you not to have maybe finish the book. There is no pressure to do that. Just to maybe start reading a book inspired by the theme of adventure. And just share with us your thoughts about the characters and how the book made you feel. If this book has already been made into a film, how you might have directed it differently, and who you might cast as the lead characters. And also, was there any key points in that book that really left a powerful mark on you, and maybe you had to go back and reread it again because you just enjoyed that moment so much? It's all very, very exciting. So, I have chosen a book from my own collection. You are welcome to choose books from your own personal shelves at home, from an existing borrowed library book, or you can borrow from our ebook in e-audiobook collection online. So what you have to do is pick up a smartphone or a tablet device. Go onto the Play Store or Apple Store, whichever one is relevant for your type of smart device. Play Store. And search for My Library app. It is a little red square with white writing, and you are required to enter your library card number and your 4-digit PIN, and then you remain logged in 24/7. How great is that? So you can do a keyword search for a title of the book or the author's name, and in your search you are presented with results that tell you whether this book is available as a physical book, or if it's available as an e-audiobook or an ebook. And once you click on that link, it will forward you onto 3 apps. So we have Libby Overdrive, RB Digital and BorrowBox. Again, the link will encourage you to download each of these 3 apps separately for free to your device, and away you go. The book I chose from my shelf to read around the theme of adventure was The City of Halves by Lucy Inglis. This book is only available as a physical item. Sadly, you can't read it online or listen to a fantastic narration of the story. However, I would encourage you, once our branches reopen, to reserve it, because it is a real page turner, and I managed to read it in a day and a half because I could not put it down. Would you like to hear the blurb? So, London, present day. Girls are disappearing and strange creatures are on the streets. When Lily is attacked by a 2-headed dog, She's saved by hot, tattooed and not quite human Regan. As guardian of the gates, it's his job to protect both halves of the city, new and old, from a world of restless creatures that threaten its very existence. As the city spins out of control, Lily and Regan race to find the girls, discover the truth and expose a terrible conspiracy. How great is that? This book completely had me hooked. I could not put it down because the author has a magnificent ability in the space of only a few short sentences quickly move us between locations across London, between day and night, and to show a huge development in the characters' personalities in a few key words. There's not many authors that are able to do that in a book only this length, and there is so much rich detail within this story that I am very keen to see if the author would continue it into a second book. We will wait to see. This book was published in 2014. A second one has not been hinted at yet, but I'm hoping if the author was to watch this book review that she may take heed and write it. So you may be wondering, why did I choose this book? I really miss going into London. I miss getting on the bus and the train and exploring the magic of the city. Also, the author was very honest and shared what was her inspiration for the main character, Lily. She said that she was outside St. Paul's Cathedral and her eyes fell on a young girl who was about 16. She had gorgeous red hair, striking eyes, and she was focused completely on her phone. She was walking with purpose after a message had been read or even sent, and she was dressed in boys' boots and just looked very determined and spirited, and that there was a goal to be achieved. And this inspired Lucy's character of Lily. And I think it's quite ironic that this brave heroine who clearly just faces fear, her name is a flower, and you kind of expect a more, I don't know, a bit raw and rugged of a name, but it just goes to show that all the Lilies I've come across, Lily Potter and now this Lily and many more, they are fierce women. Would you like to hear about that scene where Lily encounters a two-headed dog? Then behind her, she heard a low growl. She turned. 4 yellow eyes blinked at her, glowing blankly at chest height in the wooden alley. Lily swallowed. Low, rumbling snarls reached her ears. Okay, there is no such thing as a dog with 2 heads loose in the city of London. The creature paced, weaving back and forth at the inner gateway, never taking its eyes from her. Lily stepped back. It was massive and barrel-chested, and it definitely had 2 heads. From one of the mouths, a long pink tongue lolled over the razor-sharp teeth. The other mouth wrinkled as it bared its long fangs, snarling. It was the sound of fury, madness. The dog's weaving increased. A slaver ran down its jaws. Lily's knees weakened. She looked around the huge derelict courtyard. It reeked of abandonment. She tugged out her earphones and edged towards the nearest door, which stood slightly open, if she could just get inside. The dog saw her move and the snarling escalated. Then, like a greyhound from a trap, it bounded through the gate and burst into the courtyard. Lily scrambled for the doorway, but a second later everything erupted into pain and blood. We have a gateway that connects us to another realm of magic, who you will find is the home of the Eldritch. And quite ordinarily outside the gateway is everyday Londoners and commuters and city dwellers, and also, surprisingly, fantasy creatures that, quite happily live amongst us. this moment is so gripping, and the lead up to these pages and the few after, I was completely drawn in. I had to go back and reread it because I don't want to miss a single detail. We have a young girl who is the daughter of a lawyer who is very much for human rights, and she learned at school coding and computer programming, and she's actually really good at script, and she can hack into security cameras across London. And to sort of help her father in his court cases, she researches the criminals and sees if she can find any evidence about their activity in their past to support her father's fight to get justice for their victims. So what has just happened is Lily has been hacked into the CCTV for London and the security services of like the police. She's managed to do that. Great, clever young lady. And she's controlling a camera that turns 360, and she's seen on Bow Lane a very unusual young man. He is wearing a dirty and billowing white coat, and his hood's up concealing his face, and he's locking the gate that Lily has been watching, and he susses that he has been observed and destroys the camera, which frustrates Lily because she's after a particular individual, and this camera was her biggest lead to locating his hideout. So she, pops her headphones in, and she, walks with great purpose down to this lane and encounters a courtyard, goes through a doorway and sees a rookery, a very old building, and sees a bird in the archway, and then notices sort of boarded up doorways, and suddenly is greeted with, through another archway, this terrifying, menacing two-headed dog. So this is called a band dog, and it is actually part of chaos, which is creatures that are called entropy. They embody darkness, and they come in many forms and cannot be reasoned with. And apparently, according to Regan, who we meet, London is a magnet for all types of chaos. We have a banshee, we have these bugs that manifest into a creature of the plague that passes on the plague to people of London who can't see these mythical beings. And it's really interesting because Lily has just gone from trying to help with seeking justice for crime to being enveloped in a world of folklore and fantasy. It's great because we are introduced to London through new eyes. So there is a London Wall which Regan explains protects the city, but during World War I and II, and during bombings and through the passage of time, the wall has been weakened. There are 7 gates around London, so we have Aldgate, Aldersgate, Cripplegate, Moorgate, Newgate, Bishopgate and Ludgate, and they are guarded by the ancients, which are in fact dragons. And somehow these creatures of darkness are slipping through these gates because there is an imbalance of chaos, and it's kind of described to an imbalance in the universe. So very quickly the author's introducing you to so many intertwining, overlapping elements of science, medicine, fantasy, and kidnap and murder, and you are completely bewildered and beguiled and just very excited about not knowing what's going to happen next. I think if this book was made into a film, the CGI animation would be absolutely mesmerising and would leave us floored. I felt quite excited when I started a new chapter of this story, and would like to read more of the author's work. I would have hoped that the author could have let us pass through the gateway and archway into this other realm, and that's why I'm so keen to see if there will be a second book. However, there was enough graphic detail about key points in London that you feel you are very much there observing the battles taking place and the growing bond of Lily and Regan, and how you become more curious, what is the significance of their meeting. At times I feel the story is quite rushed. You're led in a suspenseful build-up to discovering, like, oh, why is this character's identity hidden, and what does it signify? And then suddenly the author will just explain it in a sentence, and that's it. And you wish there was more depth. So that would be my only flaw of the story, that there's a bit of an anticlimactic build-up at times. But if you are looking for a book that covers action and romance, this is the book for you. So why not reserve it in time for when our branches reopen? I would highly recommend that. It is free to reserve a teen novel. And thank you very much for watching. I look forward to you joining us on our Zoom calls, and please post on the Facebook page your thoughts about any other books and themes you would like to discover, because in the future we will offer polls in which you can vote, and we look forward to seeing this teen book group flourish and grow. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye bye.